So we are going to be talking about grounding into cosmic consciousness and some of the changes and energies that are available to us to just sort of around that whole theme. We're in a new place in the cosmos that we haven't been, that Earth hasn't been for, I think it's estimated of like 36,000 years, where we are in terms of our and I don't mean when I say our orbit, I'm not just talking about our Earth, the Earth's orbit around the sun. I'm talking about the orbit of our entire, not just our solar system, but the entire Milky Way galaxy. Like is in orbit around galactic center.
Sure.
And so we're in a new place that we haven't been that the Earth hasn't been in a very long time. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, and then I want to offer a meditation for you to use to take with you from this this session.
Mhm.
So there's been a lot of, I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So there has been a lot of talk about a third-dimensional 3D 5D split and the elevation of human consciousness. And there's sort of been a lot of these like buzzwords and things that are flying around. And there is in fact a spiritual war that is happening right now. And this spiritual war is for human consciousness.
So now, I know that we're just kind of talking preliminary right now.
Yes.
So let me just ask, does this have anything to do with the yugas?
With the yugas?
Uh-huh.
You want to give me elaborate a little bit more with your question, please?
So in the Hindu mythology, you have the Kali Yuga, which they say we're at the end of it. Some people say that we're out of the Kali Yuga, and we're going into another yuga. In ancient Kemet, they have 5 yugas. So there's 4 yugas. In ancient Kemet, there's 5 yugas. There's Kepler, there's Ra, there's Un, there's Aten, and Amen. And we're leaving Amen, going into Kepler. So that's what I mean. There's every, like.
So you're referring to the changing of the spiritual age.
Yes, that's what yes. So is that the same thing? Is that
yes.
Okay.
So yes, it is. Although I'm not necessarily addressing what any of the ancients called the spiritual age. What I'm addressing is we're looking at the energies, specifically the energies are available and how to best navigate them as they're happening.
Okay.
Is what specifically, like what I'm going to be talking about, and what we're looking at is, it's esoteric, but it's also more tools for the physical body, because there are things that we can, like how to put this. Essentially, we are being bombarded with a lot of new cosmic information.
Mm-hmm.
As we have just left the cosmic bubble, and it's the local, what's it called? It's got a name. Let me just a minute. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it's called the LIC, and that is an acronym for something which I don't see it in my notes here. But you can Google it if you want more information about that. It is something that NASA is, like, they are sort of currently talking about it, and if you want more information, like, on the science part of it, then we're looking at the energy of it. and how to some things, some tools that you can use in order to help your body utilize these energies to most efficiently, we'll say.
Mhm.
So yes, the age is changing. All of the ancients are in agreement upon that, whether you call it a yuga or whether you call it, I believe the Mayans called it the suns, the first sun, the second sun, the third sun, the fifth sun, the sixth sun. Whether you're referring to them by the names of Kemet, we're shifting from one age, whether it's the dawning of the age of the Aquarius, like however you're referring to it, we
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
we are in this transition phase. And there are a lot of energies that are bombarding the planet right now that are the media spin is that they're disruptive and they're destructive and they're really bad. But the media, you have to consider that the media, the Western media in particular, is in service to the old paradigm. And so anything that is in service to the old paradigm is crumbling. It is falling apart. And we're watching it die, essentially. And so, of course, in its dying throes, it's going to be like, oh, this is terrible, panic, fear, fear. And what we need to do, particularly as melanated indigenous folks, this is our planet. This is our planet. This is our home. And we borrowed our bodies from the planet in order to come here and do this work. And the fact that you're alive now and you're present on the planet now means that somewhere there was a soul intention to participate in this work. And this work being holding the light and holding those higher vibrational energies.
Well, wait a minute. Okay. I know it's 10 minutes in, but we haven't even introduced you.
Oh, okay.
Or anything.
I'm ready.
We just started talking. And can I show something that may be embarrassing to you?
Oh, okay.
Just to show you how long I'm turning into my father, okay? Just to show you how long I've known.
And I'm teaching a class, so I'm gonna some space, guys. That's my children.
I've known this young lady. So this was Kwanzaa '93.
Oh.
And let me speed it up just a little bit. This is Michelle Sunshine right here. That was back in the day. That's Mariana and that's Derek. All right, I'm gonna stop. So she's been with us ever since, and we're certainly glad to have her here. Michelle's Sunshine is like a niece to me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you could join us. And she approached me and wanted to talk about this topic, and I said sure. And so here she is. So again, if you wouldn't mind, would you introduce your topic today?
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about grounding into cosmic consciousness and giving practical, concrete things that you can do as a being, as a spirit in a body, to help ease this transitional period that we're in, and to allow you to be able to utilize the energies that are available to us right now, because there's a lot of energy it's stuff happening in the cosmos that I feel like we're not talking about. It's not being talked about because it's all about the elevation of human consciousness. And if human consciousness is elevated, then that makes us much harder to control and much harder to fool and much harder to the scare tactics don't work as we elevate our consciousness and we become more aware of what is that. So in cultivating the ability to tell the real from the unreal, I believe is one of our virtues.
Yes.
and is part of what we believe and what we practice. And so as we grow and as we are given this energy to assist with the elevation of our consciousness, we become better able to discern those things, what is real and what is not real, and what is within the scope of probability and what is not within the scope of probability in terms of predictions and, you know, things of that nature. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and I'll take some questions, and then we will end with the grounding meditation. Now, I will say that this particular meditation is really about connecting with planet Earth, with Gaia, and I will often refer to planet Earth as Gaia. That is the goddess of the spirit of planet Earth herself. She is a living being. She does have consciousness. She is aware of our presence. And I think that was probably one of the most humbling things for me, was to go out and sit in the grass and connect with the planet and have the planet show me that she's aware of me and she's aware of my connection with her. And that's really quite amazing. And that is something that I wish for everyone, that you can go and have this understand the nature of our relationship with the planet, because we're conditioned to think that that the planet is that she's the host of this earth walk. She's the host of this experience, but she's so much more than that. And we are conditioned to not consider her as a living being or as a whole being. That, you know, we strip her of resources, we mine her for minerals, and yet really the system is designed to work together. All of these things are designed to work together within the system. I used to think of it as a closed system. Like if you think of a cell, right? A cell is a closed system. And the cell membrane is what acts as a protective layer to hold all of the things inside the cell. It holds the mitochondria, it holds the nucleus, it holds the endoplasmic reticulum, it holds all of those pieces of the cell are held inside by the cell membrane. So if you think of it, Gaia, if we want to take that and extrapolate and make it bigger, right? We're looking at microcosm and then take it out to the macrocosm. The ozone is like the cell membrane. The atmosphere is the cell membrane that is holding everything inside, all of the atmosphere and all of the liquid. And then even if you go all the way down to the core, you have a nucleus, right? This is the core of the planet. So I used to think of it in those terms. But then also think of Gaia as a whole consciousness within herself. You know, we are moving, like the entire universe is conscious, and there's some leading research about the physics of consciousness, that I'm not a physicist, so I'm not going to go into that. But this is some leading research that's happening, that like consciousness, like what is consciousness? What is awareness? What are these things? Well, there's physics to it. And it is something that is tangible and measurable. And our science is just now catching up with these esoteric teachings. So that said, let's talk about what's happening in the cosmos. So right now, we are leaving the LIC, which is basically, it's been a bubble of radiation that our whole solar system has existed in, and the Milky Way has existed in. And so now we are leaving that bubble of radiation, and it's protective radiation. But in that, as we leave this bubble, excuse me for just a second. Excuse me. Thank you. So as we are leaving this bubble, we are being bombarded with information from Cosmic Center. And we are also being bombarded by solar flares. I don't know, if you've heard about the M and X class solar flares that are hitting the planet, these coronal mass ejections. And from what the things that I've heard and the official research that I've read, there's a lot of fear mongering around it. There's a lot of fear about, oh, it's going to take out our technology, and if we get a direct blast, it's gonna wreak havoc on the planet, and all of these things. But I would like to postulate that just like Gaia has a consciousness and has an awareness, the sun also has a consciousness and an awareness. And no, it doesn't. I'm not saying, I'm not insinuating or that the consciousness of the sun looks anything like human consciousness as we know it. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that it has an awareness of its own, and it has a consciousness of its own. And as part of our solar system, it's part of a system that has a larger design than I feel like what we may understand with our modern science. I'm teaching a class, you guys. Please close my door. Please close my door. Lift it up. Thank you. Sorry about that. Excuse me. The consciousness of the solar system. So if we are considering the divine energy, that divine energy permeates through all things, right? It's the Hindu concept of Brahman, right? Is that this divine energy, this divine consciousness permeates all things, then doesn't it stand to reason that the sun is part of all things, and so the divine consciousness would permeate it as well, and that the earth is part of all things, and so divine consciousness would permeate the earth as well. And so if this divine consciousness is permeating all things, then everything is moving according to divine consciousness. And in my experience, divine consciousness is always moving toward the highest good. Even in tragedy, divine consciousness is moving toward the highest good. There may be aspects of this that we don't understand. So that said, these coronal mass ejections, these solar flares, this is information that is being released by the sun, and the radiation that we had been protected from by leaving this belt. Okay, I feel like I'm confusing. Let me go back. The cosmic bubble that we are leaving has been protecting us from a particular type of radiation. And that radiation is the catalyst for the DNA upgrades that will affect human consciousness. Okay, let me say that again. The cosmic bubble that we are leaving has been protection from a certain kind of radiation. This radiation is the catalyst for the DNA upgrades that facilitate the shift in human consciousness. So now that we've established, now that we have this,
can I pause
yes,
you there?
please. Yes.
So they have so there's a thing, it's called the Veil of Isis. And that's associated with what you just mentioned. And when I was talking about the ages earlier, the indigenous wisdom keepers that still exist in Kemet, they teach that as we go through the different ages, Keper, Ra, Atan, or Aten, and Amen, consciousness, there's certain consciousness that's available to us. So right now we only have 5 senses. When the Earth and this solar system, as you're pointing out, is in the age of, say, Atan, people had 360 senses. And so that's I'm trying to pull these things together for myself in my mind. That's why I'm what you're saying. I see that Brother Sebastian looked like he had a question. Are you taking questions as you go along?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. And
No,
then
no, no.
Sugar D, did you look like you had something that no? Okay. Oh, go ahead, Sebastian.
No, that was no question. I was just referencing you and I was sort of speaking along the 360s a few days ago. Not a question though. Go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Michelle. Sunshine, I'm sorry.
So really what I want to talk about is how to use this energy and how to ground yourself to the planet so that you can so that your body, our physical beings can best utilize this energy. So we're gonna go off in a couple of different directions. First, I want to talk about DNA, and then I'll try to bring it all back, and then offer the meditation. So so we've established that we are leaving the veil and entering a new part in the cosmos. We have established that the energies that are available to us are a catalyst for the upgrade and of our DNA and the elevation of our consciousness. We have established that we are in a battle for human consciousness right now. And those of us that are here because we have a soul agreement to be here and to anchor and hold the light. If you did not have a soul agreement to anchor and hold the light, you wouldn't be participating in this conversation. You wouldn't be here. There would be no a vibrational match, so to speak, for any of the information that I'm relaying to you right now. And so the sun, our sun, is those coronal mass ejections are part of that information. And as children of the sun, as melanated people, it is especially important for us to make sure that we are receiving that solar information on a daily basis. However, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy. And so it's also important to make sure that we are grounded, and so that we can receive the energy and then ground it so that what we need, we're able to keep, and the rest can go through us into the planet. They're not being grounded is, it's a thing. Our behavior becomes erratic. We are not, we tend to, well, I know for me personally, I tend to be irritable. I tend to have a short fuse when I'm ungrounded. It makes it harder for me to function and take care of daily tasks when I'm not. But when I don't have that internal anchor in place. And so what's happening is that when we get these solar flares, this is, like I said, this is information from the sun. This is like for us to use, and for our DNA to use, more importantly, for our DNA to use in order to do the upgrades that are necessary. And we're talking about quantum upgrades. These are upgrades into the quantum spectrum. And they are, in fact, unlocking new senses and new sensations. One of the things, Minister Alicia and I are very, very close friends. And one of the things that we've noticed is that our timing in terms of our phone calls and our connection, I will think of her and then pick up my phone to text her, and she will be calling me. Or I will call her and she'll say, "God, just picked up my phone to text you." And so we're noticing that the timing in those intervals is becoming shorter, has become it's almost instantaneous now. It's within minutes. And we've watched that consecutively become shorter over the course of the last maybe 2-3 years. And so as we use these energies to attune ourselves to this higher vibration, then things like that, they're synchronicities, things like that will begin to happen more. And I encourage you to notice them. I encourage you to notice when you think about somebody and then they call you, or For instance, last year in MetaKids camp, I taught out of the Harold and the Purple Crayon. That was the text that I used last year in MetaKids. Everybody got a purple crayon, and we talked about, manifesting our desires and manifesting our dreams. And then in August, on August 2nd, they're releasing the movie Harold and the Purple Crayon. So it happens. It happens on, and it's just I was sort of amused by that. And we will be going to see it coincidentally. But anyway, so let's talk about DNA for a minute. And there is a school of thought that up to 27% of our DNA is quote unquote junk DNA. And I find this highly problematic. And it's called junk DNA because it's programmable. So what does that mean if the programmable portion of your DNA is considered junk? What are we saying about what we think of ourselves if we are calling the very stuff that we're made of, the very stuff that makes us who we are, the code that tells ourselves how to divide and what to become, if we're calling it junk? What does that say about what we're thinking about ourselves and the message that we're telling ourselves? The DNA is the only part of the human body that recognizes itself as a single thing. All of your DNA in every single cell is the same. And so consider how powerful that is. How powerful that is from a standpoint of unification. If we're trying to unify our consciousness, our body, mind, and spirit, consider that your body already has a key that looks at it, that considers itself one unified being. Your DNA in every cell recognizes itself as one singular unified being. How powerful is that? And we are being given the light codes through the energies that are coming toward us now that we've moved out of this veil. We are being given the light codes to allow that DNA to upgrade so that we can tap into it and understand and utilize this energy and utilize the power of its recognition of itself as one unified being. So in terms of the programmability, like our body is always listening. Our body is always listening to the way that we speak to ourselves, to the thoughts that we think about ourselves. Even if we don't say them out loud, they have an energy to them, they have a resonance, and that resonance affects our being. And so we are being given an opportunity to work with these upgrades consciously, and to connect not only with the highest parts of our spirit, but to connect our physical beings with that highest part of our spirit by receiving these light codes. And the beauty of it is, according to the research that I've done, and the beauty of it is that all we have to do is sit with it. Make sure that you're eating well, make sure that you're staying hydrated, practice those good positive self-care, eat well, sleep well, drink your water, do your exercises, but just be, and make sure that you're existing in joy and that you are seeking out those experiences that make your heart feel light, that are positive experiences for your being. And that's what we have to do. Pay attention to how we feel. And if you're going into a situation that has, your stomach twisting, and then maybe there's some wisdom in that. Maybe this is not where you're supposed to be. If you're walking into a situation and you're having a panic attack, maybe this is not where you need to be. And maybe this is your body and your intuition telling you, hey, take a look at this. because this might not be where you need to be. Are there any questions so far? Do we have anybody who has a? No, no. Okay. We'll keep going. So in terms of,
Did you have a question, John? Were you trying to unmute yourself? Hold tight, Sunshine. Looks
yes.
like he's trying to. Hope he's not doing that while driving.
So,
Yeah,
Sunshine,
Yes, sir.
is this a reconnection to nature?
Yes. Yes. The
And-
reconnecting to nature is a big part of it. Spending time
the-
in nature and reconnecting to the planet.
Okay, so we're taking in the sun's rays,
Mm-hmm.
we're grounding to the electrical currents of the earth,
Yes.
and as a flock of birds move together or a school of fish move together, we should come into being one as a people, as those birds and fish.
Huh. That's huh.
You know what? He does that to me all the time. Yes, he says these things that are really profound, and I said, "Wow, you know what? I didn't even think of it that way." Yeah.
And I hadn't, because each one of us is our own being on our own path. And so I'm wondering, because we exist, our consciousness exists on a different level from the birds and the fish. Are we like, okay, let me back up. So
Well-
traditionally, light workers are, it's a solitary path, it's a singular path. And because we tend to be on a different vibration and a different level than the people around us. And so in the past, it has been necessary to hide those gifts and those talents, to hide our psychic abilities, to hide our healing abilities, because of the levels of persecution as consciousness, like, because we, there was one point when those healers and those who were touched by spirit were revered, right? And there were temples, there were places where we could exist in safety. There were temples where we could exist and do the work that we were intended to do in safety. And then as the world began to change and consciousness sank, as the world became colonized, I don't want to get into that. I have some very strong thoughts and opinions about the actual damage of colonization. I don't, that's not what I want to talk about. But and as the consciousness and the vibration of the planet lowered, it became necessary for those of us with those gifts to hide ourselves, to hide our gifts and talents. And, it wasn't safe for someone to be psychic. It wasn't safe for someone to be a healer, because they were seen as heretics, they were seen as witches, they were burned at the stake, they were drawn and quartered. And so all of these memories, because of epigenetic memories, those things still exist within our DNA. Those things still exist within our melanin. Those things still exist within our etheric bodies. And so part of what we are being asked to let go of is all of that persecution from the past. And the sun is giving us the information to be able to do that, giving us something to replace it with. So being grounded is not only so that you can receive the information that's necessary and move it through your body so that it doesn't short circuit your being, but it's also to help wash out those traumas and allow us to move them out of our bodies and into the planet, because that's part of our agreement. Part of the agreement with her, with Gaia, is that she is distracting me now that I was like spotlighted. I was like, wait, I'm looking at myself big. Hold on.
Sorry.
No worries. Is that's part of our agreement, is that she's transmuting energy always, right? That transmutation process is always happening within the planet. And so she is transmuting those energies to help us with this evolution, to help us with this, because the consciousness of the planet is changing as well. And of course, if the consciousness of our planet is changing, then the consciousness of the beings on the planet has to change also, right? Because then we're no longer a match. We're no longer compatible.
And I have to apologize. My example of the fish and the birds was only an illustration of togetherness, whereas what you're saying, we are individuals. We have individual paths. As a team, each person has a different role, but the team still is moving toward a common syncness or goal.
Yes, I would really like to think that. And we, as those of us who are light workers, those of us who are star seeds, those of us who are here to help anchor the light, we are much stronger together. However, there's a lot of damage in the melanin from our 400 years of being enslaved. There's a lot of damage in the melanin from that experience that sort of, I don't necessarily want to say it overrides, because consciousness trumps all. Awareness, like if you are making the conscious effort to grow, that is going to trump everything else, right? If you are, it's like if you are asking spirit, guide me, show me, walk with me, then spirit, it will answer, because spirit wants us to grow. It wants us to learn, right? Spirit is here for our highest good always. And so if we are humble in that, and we are asking, in your most holy and precious name, Creator, I'm asking you to show me the path, show me how to work with my brothers and sisters, then yes. But the thing of it is, there's very few of us who are on that level, who are willing to humble ourselves enough to say, Spirit, show me. Spirit, tell me what it is that I need to hear. Ancestors, guide me. People say it, but are you really ready to do the work? Are you really ready to listen? Because sometimes we say that, and then Spirit is like, oh, really? Okay. And then the answer isn't something that we want to hear. The answer is, you were wrong in this situation. You owe this person an apology. The answer is, the way that you chose to respond was not for the highest good of everyone, right? And sometimes we don't want to hear that. We don't want to listen to that, even though we asked, for it. And so it's
Sunshine.
Yes, sir.
I have two hands up.
Okay.
They're in here. I think you were finished, Sebastian. Okay, so because I don't want them to forget their question. So go ahead, Tony, and then Sugar D.
Okay, thank you, Sister Michelle. So in regards to the grounding process and putting your feet in the soil, my question, because I live in Texas and there's lots of bugs everywhere. So, you know, I treat the grass and the soil. So I don't think I should put my feet into or onto something that has chemicals. So my question is, if I make like get a flat container and put good soil in there, can I ground that way? Or do my feet have to be connected directly to the earth?
So,
Good question.
that's a great question. That's a great question. And yes, if you want to, like, sometimes you can get, like, there's this stuff that that's called like cat grass, where it's for people who have pets and live in apartments, and you can grow like a little container of grass and connect that in that way. You can also ground on a tree root. You can also wear leather bottom shoes and put your leather bottom shoes on the ground to protect the soles of your feet from the chemicals. You can go for a walk on the beach. There you can stand on a rock. There are other ways to connect. I mean, and really, it's best to do it physically with your physical being, your bare feet, in contact with the grass, in contact with the soil. I recognize that sometimes the ground is too hot. Sometimes there are critters that you don't want to deal with. In your case, there's the chemicals that you're using to treat. Maybe consider trying something different, you know, like a vinegar solution, and then it's not toxic for you, but it will still keep the bugs away. Like, you know, or grow something, like have something specifically for your grounding purposes. And so when if you decide to go the cat grass route, whew, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. If you decide to go the cat grass route, maybe you just have your grass, and when you're in your meditation chair, you put your feet on your cat grass. And that is just that grass is specifically, that's your meditation grass, and that's specifically what it's for, and specifically what it's cultivated for.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I mean, and even you could even just surround yourself with plants too, you know, because it's in your intent, right? It's in your intent. But when you're outside receiving the information from the sun, it's best to be able to be grounded, so that, because it's these solar flares, and I'm not necessarily recommending that you go out during a solar flare and be out while an X-class solar flare is happening, but the information that is coming to the planet from the solar flares, like it's you want to be able to utilize it and allow your body to utilize it. And that's not a thought process. This is not a thinky. This isn't, and these things that I'm talking about are not happening in the intellect. You will spin and go round and round and round and round in your intellect all day, and it's not an intellectual process. It is absolutely not an intellectual process. But you want to be able to be in contact. And maybe that's for you, sister, maybe that's sitting on a wooden bench, because you can still connect through natural materials. You can still connect with what's around you.
Does concrete count?
Concrete is a barrier, as are rubber sole shoes. Rubber sole shoes and concrete are barriers. I mean, so hold on, let me back up with that. The layer of concrete in comparison to the entire planet is very minuscule. But until you are familiar with what it is that you're feeling for, I recommend being in direct contact with plant life, with the earth, with the soil, with the rock, with a tree stump, until you're familiar with what it feels like to connect directly with that energy.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to monopolize, but one last question. So would sand count?
Yes. Yes.
Even sand in a box?
Yeah.
Like I did. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want to like, you just, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to attune your energy. What does it feel like to connect with Gaia in a conscious way? To speak, when you speak directly, Gaia, planet Earth, thank you for hosting this Earth walk. Thank you for this body, because we get our bodies from her, right? Our physical beingness comes from the planet. We are made of the stuff of the planet, right? But we're also made of the stuff of the stars. But what we're trying to do is cultivate that deeper connection, not just a surface connection. Gaia she has an awareness. And when you are granted, like when she's like, yes, I'm aware of you, it's just this, well, we'll do it, but like just practice sending love to the planet and see what that feels like. What does it feel like when you send love down into the planet and she says, oh, hello, my child, I love you, and then sends that love back? What does that feel like in your body? And then you know what to look for in that connection.
All right. All right. And then Sugar D's question is next. Go ahead.
Man, so many things have run through my mind since you've been talking, and I want to thank you. You've confirmed a few things for me. I don't know what question to ask you first. So when should we make this connection? What time of the day? And I know you say you don't want to be out when the information is, or whatever it is you say that would be
The solar flex.
The solar flex. You say we don't want to be out then. So when should we be out? And am I looking at, are you saying that we're now going to be into another realm to where we are, like you say, the DNA is going to change, and it's going to change some of the information that we have, and we want to receive the information from the sun. That's going to be new information that's possibly is going to replace that fear, that stuff that the bad stuff, the junk, or whatever they call it. You said that they call it. Is that what I'm understanding? And how long is that going to last? How long are we going to have? Is that a open gate and it's going to close back, or how does that work?
So we're in it now. And let's see, that I want to be careful about how I answer this question. When you are, for those of you who are already sun gazing, that's a good time to connect. If you're already sun gazing in the morning, that's a good time to practice receiving the information from the sun and grounding deep into the earth. It's a good time to practice that. Anytime, the connecting to the planet can happen at any time, whenever you feel like it. Just whenever you're like, oh, maybe I need to go and connect to a tree right now. Or maybe I just need to go for a walk in the grass. That can happen at any time. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hi, baby.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm teaching a class.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah.
My bad. Let me go.
It's all right. That's all right. No. Oh, absolutely not. Don't come in here playing. Don't come in here playing. No. I'm teaching a class. And close my door all the way, please.
Put something on TV.
I'm on my phone teaching a class.
Sorry.
Go read your library book. Play a game. Put together a puzzle. You've got other options. Excuse me. So you can connect with the planet at any time, whenever it's good for you, whenever you're feeling heavy, whenever you are, whenever you need a boost, when it just because you feel like it. I've been, one of the practices that I've been doing lately is to just listen, to just go sit in my yard and just listen, close my eyes and try to hear as many different sounds. Like the people on two sides of me have chickens. And so I've gotten to recognize the roosters' voices because they actually do sound different. I've gotten to recognize the different roosters' voices. There's a mockingbird that comes that I've learned their song. because I just sit and listen, and you'd be amazed when you focus your attention. And because this is a way of connecting too, right? Because we're connecting with all of the sounds that are around us, that are filling the air, that this, like, it's all connected. It's all part of Gaia. Everything that happens within our atmosphere is part of Gaia. And so how do you connect with the natural world? Well, we'll go, and that reminds me, we can go through 2 meditations. We're going until 6:30, right, Minister Imhotep?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Then we can do 2 meditations. We'll do a 5 senses meditation, and then we will do the intended meditation specifically for grounding and utilizing the solar energy. So there, like, before 10 a.m. is in terms of like resetting your circadian rhythm, before 10 a.m. is a good time to connect with the sun and to ground and connect with the sun. I would say if you're already sun gazing, you can do it then as well. But in terms of connecting to the planet, she's here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't need a specific time. And she's waiting for us to connect with her.
Let me ask about the sun gazing. When you're saying sun gazing, are you talking about the 10 seconds each day grounding and adding 10 seconds until you get to I forget how many minutes? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That window, that degree window before sunrise and before or after sunrise and before sunset. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. If this is a practice that what I'm talking, like, this lecture is not about sun gazing. This presentation is not about sun gazing. But if you are already engaged in that practice and utilizing that practice, that's a good time to connect with the planet as well.
All right. We have a question, Brother Thomas. Let me remove some people that were okay. Let me add Brother Thomas here. Go ahead.
Thank you for sharing your information and creating an environment where people can exchange ideas and learn different ways to seek the truth. Just personally speaking, since I've been a child, I always wanted to know what was true and wanted to allow truth to speak to me directly, not someone else's interpretation of what is true. And, in the West, particularly in the United States of America, most people, I think about 70% of people identify themselves as Christian. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's all different kind of interpretations of Christianity and different, things. But the kind of basis of that is that we are a separate individual and that there's a supreme being, and there is a disconnect between what we consider ourselves to be and what that supreme being is. And we have to do something in order to be one with it. And what I'm experiencing is that I feel that I'm one with it already. And I just have to have the courage to realize that. And we are all one with that supreme truth. And it is the essence of what we are. And then so while we're here on this human journey in this human form, we're conditioned to think that we're limited. And so that's where the fear comes in, because we think we need something in order to fulfill ourselves, or there's something outside of ourselves that can cause us harm. And that's that game that, we're playing. But, when we come to events such as what you have now, it's sort of reflecting the fact of the truth of what we are, and then specific ways that we can reinforce that truth and the realization of that truth with one another. So that's, I feel that what you're offering here is a way to enforce that or reinforce that. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so that, to piggyback on that, Um, the divine is living in us and through us. This is one of our sacred teachings. The divine is living in us and through us already. And we do have a lot of conditioning, and one of my mentors calls it contamination. We do have this level of contamination from the conditioning and the programming that we receive from the society that we live in. It is there. And part of what we are being given the opportunity to do is to reconnect to the truth of our own divinity. The sun is not conditioned by anything that we do here on the planet. It's not. The sun is its own being, existing in its own awareness. And so the information that we are able to get in the way of these solar rays, right? Because this solar radiation is interacting with our melanin. It's interacting with the very DNA of our beings, and it's giving us it is the catalyst for the upgrade. So all we have to do is receive it. That's it. Just be there and receive it and say, thank you. I received this information. Remember to receive it from a place of gratitude. That's important. That's important. Gratitude is incredibly important. And to remember to receive it from a place of humility.
Yes, yes.
Because we are human and we did incarnate into these bodies at a time where our divinity is being reawakened.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like, it's like being in the dark and having someone flip the switch, and now all of a sudden you're bathed in light, and it takes some time for you to adjust, and then you realize, wow, this whole time I've been standing in the dark. And so we're in that adjustment period, and you may notice that you have new abilities that are coming online. You may notice that your intuition is starting to speak to you stronger. And these are I think 36 years, I think is the timeline that was given for this particular upgrade, which if you think about it is really fast. Generally, genetic upgrades take generations, right? It's like if we're looking at the natural selection process. I was reading an article about anoles. It's a little lizard in the chameleon family. And they were doing research about this. There were researchers who were following this band of anoles over some square mileage, and they were just looking at the ones in this particular area. And then there were a series of storms. And when they came back to check, the ones that survived had particular attributes, like their toes were longer and their bodies were more streamlined. And so because of these storms, like that was like natural selection, right? The ones that were able to survive the storm passed on their genetic traits. And so what's happening now is that we are having storms, solar storms, in order to upgrade our DNA so that we can pass on these traits, these upgraded DNA traits. And the timeline I heard was 36 years. I don't, on the other side of the veil, there is no time in the way that we keep it here. So I don't know, like, I'm not exactly sure what that means. But that was the timeline that was given. And then I'm not sure if it was 36 years from 2012, which is when this shift is supposed to have started, or 36 years from no, to answer Tony's question, it doesn't. LIC, it's the cosmic bubble. If you Google, I feel like if you Google cosmic bubble, I can't find it. And I may find it. And what I'll do is after this, because I want to get into the meditations here. After this, I will send it to Minister Imhotep, and then Minister Imhotep, if you will send it out so you can do your own research.
Absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Well, thank you for your helpfulness, sir. I appreciate that. So I will Google it, but it has to do with the cosmic bubble that we're exiting, like this veil that has been this veil, so that all of this tomfoolery that's been happening on the planet can happen. Because once people become aware and once they activate their consciousness, then you're not going to fall for the okie doke, you know? And so that's part of why there is so much fear mongering, and why things seem like it's like they're, what's it, upping the ante or something like that. Like why it seems to be like this escalation of, oh my gosh, it's war in the Ukraine, and oh my gosh, North Korea, and oh my gosh, Donald Trump, and oh my gosh, Joe Biden. All that stuff is irrelevant. It's not even like, I'm not even 100% sure that it's real. Like what's real? Like, you want to talk about reality? What's real? The
Okay,
laughter of my children.
Let's still go there. That's another 2 hours.
Right. That is a whole nother 2 hours. But like, what's real? The laughter of my children. What's real? That the trees in my yard. What's real? The plants growing in my garden. What's real? The bees pollinating those plants in my garden. That's what's real. All this other stuff is a whole lot of hoopla to keep you distracted from connecting into something real, which is our planet, which is
I have to apologize, but I'm in a choir and we have rehearsal tonight, so I have to leave. But I wanted to get on here to get a taste of what was going on here, and I really appreciate the community that is here, and I do intend to participate more often, and you can thank Tony for hooking me up with this. So
thank you.
All right,
so
time to
enjoy
take care,
the rest
brother.
of your evening, and thanks again for sharing.
Take care, man.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Take care. So let's go ahead and get into the 2 meditations, and I'm going to offer them back to back. We will start with the 5 senses meditation, and then this is also it is a meditation, but it is also a tool that you can use to help combat anxiety attacks and panic attacks if this is something that you're prone to. And then from the 5 senses meditation, we will go directly into the connecting to Gaia meditation. And this is a practice. This is another tool that I'm giving to you, and please feel free to modify it. It works best when you can actually be in contact with excuse me. It works best when you can actually be in contact with the planet herself. But if not, consider the size of the planet that we're on. And her energy is so big that really you can connect anywhere, especially once you know what it feels like. You can connect through anything, but it's definitely easier to do when you are in physical contact with the planet. So I'm going to invite you all to close your eyes, and we're going to start with some deep breathing. So just in through your nose and out through your mouth. Go ahead and put your palms up. Sit comfortably. And I'm going to ask that you tilt your head up just a bit, lift your chin so that your third eye, the Ajna chakra, is pointed toward the ceiling slightly. And do so just a slight tilt in your chin. You don't have to, put your head all the way back. But this action will help to activate your third eye. And you might feel it as we go through this. You might feel that area tingling a little bit. So just breathe, take in a deep breath in through your nose. Feel your chest expand, feel your diaphragm expand, feel your chest rise as your lungs feel. And hold it for a moment, and then exhale through your mouth. And release all of that stale air. And go ahead and hold it at the bottom. And breathe in again, nice deep breath. Feel your shoulders move back as your lungs fill. Feel your diaphragm and your belly swell as you take in this prana, this life-giving air. And hold it for a moment, and then exhale nice and slow and release all of that. I'm going to do that one more time. Go ahead and inhale. Let this be your biggest breath. Inhale, inhale, inhale. And when you feel like you've inhaled all you can, inhale a little bit more. You want to feel a nice stretch across your chest and let your diaphragm extend fully and fill your body with all of the air. And really, as you inhale, allow that air to push into all of those spaces in your lungs. And exhale. And you can continue to breathe normally as we go through this meditation. This is the five senses meditation. So the first thing that you are going to do is concentrate on the sounds that you hear. The first sound may be my voice as I'm guiding you through this meditation. Listen to the tone of my voice as I pronounce these words. And really allow that sound to come into your ears. What else do you hear? I'm going to be silent for a few moments to allow you to take in the other things that you may hear. Is there a fish tank in the room with you? Is there a waterfall? Is there a fan going? Are there birds singing outside the window? Can you hear a clock? Can you hear someone's music from another room? Consider all of the things that you can hear. Pick out at least 5, but consider all of the things that you can hear. Now, focus your attention on your sense of smell. As you breathe in deeply through your nose, what can you smell? Is there incense burning? Did you burn sage? Is someone cooking? Can you smell the dust that is maybe collecting on the bookshelf? Do you have pets? Are there children? Allow all of that information to filter in and process. Now focus your awareness on your sense of touch. You can turn your hands over and put your hands flat, palms down on your knees. Do you feel the material of your pants or skirt? Can you feel the pressure of your hands on your legs? And notice, what else do you feel? Do you feel the chair beneath your body? Do you feel the ground beneath your feet? Is there a fan in the room? Can you feel a breeze from the fan? Are you sitting in the sun? Can you feel the heat from the sun? Notice all of the things that your skin is feeling. Can you feel a difference between the material that is of your shirt and the material that is of your pants? Can you feel the elastic band on your socks? If you're wearing socks. Notice everything that you can feel. And also notice if you're feeling any emotions. What's present for you right now? Are you calm? Are you feeling energized? Are you feeling fascinated because you didn't know that there was so much you could feel when you focus on it? Is there something that's been gnawing at a corner of your heart? Give it space. Let it come forward. Maybe there's information there that you didn't know you needed. Now for the sense of taste. Go ahead and take a sip of your water or your tea and really focus on the flavors that are in your mouth. How does that water taste? Does it taste clear and cool? Oh, mine's gone. My water tastes empty. If you're drinking tea, what do you notice about the tea? Is it pungent? Is it aromatic? Is the flavor complex? Is it sweet? Is it tart? Is it bold? Is it light? What do you notice about the flavor of the tea that you're drinking? And then lastly is the sense of sight. If you happen to be sitting around the window or near a window, I'm going to ask that you look out the window and notice what you see out the window. If you are not sitting next to a window, what do you see in the room around you? Try to notice details, minute details that you may not have paid attention to. For instance, there's sitting in front of me, there's a little chest of drawers. And I'm just noticing the dovetailing on the drawer fronts and how it allows you to see the grain, the light and dark end grain in the wood, which is, it's a nice little detail. It's very pretty. I never noticed that before. I'm noticing ma'am, I'm teaching a class. Thank you. What do you notice that's around you? And try to notice the details. If you have a house plant in front of you, notice the vein pattern on the leaf. Really look at that leaf. Look at the different colors. How many different shades of green are on that one leaf or on that one plant? Are all of the leaves the same color? Is the vein pattern the same? Are all of the leaves shaped the same? So when you do the 5 senses meditation, or when it's done, like I said, it can be used for anxiety. And in that case, you would do 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And it's a way to help calm your nerves and bring you back into present time and reground you in your body space. So go ahead and take a deep breath and come on back from that meditation. We're gonna jump right back into the Gaia presence meditation. And so this one, like I said, this one works best when you're able to actually sit outside, but I will guide you through as a visualized meditation in your head. But the principles the principles are the same, whether you're sitting in your living room or sitting out in the yard. And you can also, to answer your question, you can also get a mat. Sister, you asked about being in direct contact with the ground. You can sit on like a woven mat. And that would work as well to protect you from the chemicals that are on the ground. But still allow you to be in contact with the planet. So we're going to go ahead and take 3 deep breaths again. Go ahead and close your eyes. Tilt your chin up. Put your hands up on your knees. Sit comfortably. Maybe roll your shoulders a little bit. Wind your back some. Wiggle your toes. Stomp your feet. Make sure your blood is still flowing. We're going to go. We're going to do 3 box breaths. And so that is in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, out for a count of 4, and hold for a count of 4. Another tool that you're welcome to use, it's a golden nugget. So I will guide you. I'm going to count in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, and hold 2, 3, 4. In 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, and hold 2, 3, 4. In 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4, and hold 2, 3, 4. In your mind's eye, I want you to see yourself on a nature walk. You have your walking stick and you're enjoying a nice walk down the path. And this is a dirt path, but it's been worn smooth through use. There's a nice little creek running next to you. And it's right at the edge of the tree line. So it's wonderful and shady. You have lovely dappled sunshine coming through on this well-worn creek path. And you're noticing the ground beneath your feet is firm and smooth. You can hear the birds chirping in the trees and fluttering all around you. There's a buzz of life in the air everywhere as you walk. Soon, you come upon a clearing. The path opens into a grove of trees. And all around this clearing, there are these massive, beautiful, old growth trees that are covered in moss and hanging with vines. And there's so much life and so much green. It's almost startling. Not until after food. Please close my door.
I'm a puppet.
Oh, please. I'm in the middle of a meditation, son. No. No, please close my door. There's so much life all around you. The buzz of the insects. You can see lizards skittering through the leaves. And you see in front of you a place to sit in this grove. There's a low stone bench that you almost would have missed because of the moss and vines. And you can feel that this bench is calling to you to sit down. And so you go and have a seat on this bench. And as you sit, you allow your awareness to move out to the glade that you're in, and you're looking around, noticing the trees and the vines, and noticing the birds and the plants and the animals and everything around you. And a sense of gratitude begins to come over you. Allow that gratitude to radiate out from your heart as you say, thank you for this space. Thank you for this place to rest in the cool shade. Thank you to all of the plants who are producing oxygen for you to breathe. Take a deep breath and breathe in that lovely oxygenated air. And know that as you exhale, the carbon dioxide is a gift to all of that plant life. And as you exhale, imagine them taking in that carbon dioxide with the same amount of gratitude and giving more oxygen. And so as you enter this breathing cycle, with the trees, where you're inhaling the oxygen that they are giving in response to the carbon dioxide that you are exhaling, you begin to feel a presence. And you notice in the tree line, a woman. And not just any woman, but a goddess. This is the goddess Gaia. And notice the vines in her locks and how her skin looks like tree bark. And you notice her moss dress. And she's standing at the edge of the tree line. Thank her for the oxygen. and thank her for the glade. Thank her for hosting this walk for you. Thank her for the opportunity to connect. Thank her for the opportunity to connect with her and allow that gratitude and that love to pour from your heart. And what do you notice as you send that love and that gratitude to her? How does she respond? Is she smiling? Does she seem to glow from the inside? And what do you notice within your body? Allow your consciousness to scan your body as you send that gratitude deep into the planet, as you send that love deep into the planet. What do you feel radiating all around you? Can you feel the prickle on your skin as the very air seems to become electric? Can you feel the love radiating from all of the plants and the goddess herself? Can you feel it radiating up from the ground where you're sitting? Does she have a message for you? Listen deeply. The message that she has is for you. Know that we are supported by Gaia, by the goddess of the very planet. Know that she is in agreement to us being here. She is in agreement to our journey. She is in agreement to us being on our path. Thank her for her presence. Thank her for her love. And as you thank her, she begins to recede into the tree line. And you wonder if you saw her at all. When you're ready, we'll get up from that glade and come back. Walk back along the path, noticing the dappled sunshine, listening to the creek. Walk back along that path and back into your mind's eye and come back to your seat in whatever room you were in. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths and I will count backwards from 10. So first breath in and exhale. Second breath in and exhale. Third breath in and exhale. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you're ready, open your eyes. Welcome back. I'm going to say hello to time. Minister Imhotep, it is 6:33. I can take, I don't know how that works. Technically, this is time. I'm available to take a couple more questions if there are some. But if we...
Let me just say this. We can go a few minutes longer, but tomorrow is study of sacred scriptures, and we're going to continue this. I've been bringing some things together. And Michelle, excuse me, Sunshine. I'm sorry, I've known you since you're a little girl. So that's why her name is Sunshine. Okay, she prefers to be called Sunshine. So if you'd like to join us tomorrow at 6, we go from 6 to 7, and I put together some things based upon what you have said today, and just to share one of them, because this kind of wraps it up, what you're saying. This is essentially
Mm-hmm.
what you've communicated, and we're going to continue this tomorrow. I've put this picture in the chat along with some other things, and so hopefully you all will have time to join us tomorrow at 6 o'clock, this same Zoom channel, and we're going to be talking about grounding into consciousness. Thank you so much, Sunshine, for I know that you have, how many children do you have there in the house there?
There are 4 here in the house.
4. So I know that you have your hands full. So I'm glad that you were able to make some time with us. If there are any questions, I'm just going to step aside, and if there are any questions before we go, feel free to ask your question. All right. I know
I have
she's
a
getting.
question.
Okay,
I have
go
a
ahead.
question.
Go
I'm
ahead.
curious for to hear about the meditation experience, if anybody would like to share, particularly the Gaia grounding meditation and that gratitude and love exchange. I'm curious to hear what anyone's experience was, if they would like to share.
Anyone?
It was very relaxing, and I can just imagine how much more relaxing it will be if I'm in my grounding area.
Greetings,
Nice.
everyone. I am in my backyard, and it wasn't that peaceful to me because I kept getting bugs flying by. Not bees. I have bees in my yards. Bees weren't bothering me, but and I'm very sensitive to touch. So anytime anything was lighting on me or crawling on me, I was, but I do grounding in the morning, but I don't sit down. I stand up. This time I was actually sitting. So next time maybe I'll just try standing up. Won't be so distracted.
Well,
Yeah.
it was very visual for me. I could visualize taking that walk, and I was so glad when you said that bench, because I could know that I was getting tired and I needed somewhere to sit down. So when you said something about that bench, I was definitely walking towards it and trying to sit on it. But I could actually feel that whole thing and see it and actually visualize it as
Oh,
you
no.
talk.
Nice.
I
Wonderful.
like the senses, and because for me, I don't always pay attention in that detail, and just noticing some of the things that I was hearing and feeling. So that's really good. I'm definitely going to add that to my meditations. That was, my process, and get in with the grounding, get my cat grass. I'll be ready to go.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Asante Sana.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
For me, I'm in a car and we're riding, but there was a point where we stopped. And my favorite part was when you said, look out the window. And when I did, the sun is getting ready, it's preparing to set. Not yet, but it's in that phase. And the rays of the sun, I could see the spectrum. It was just awesome.
Yes.
That, I'm getting chills talking about it.
Yes.
That was awesome. And so the grounding to the soil, it took me back to the times of my parents when it was normal. It was to walk. And with my childhood, when you walked automatically barefoot, on the, it took me there. And so it's just, this has been such a blessing. Asante Sana.
Oh, wonderful. My pleasure.
All right. All right. Well, I'm going to close with a video, of course, that Sunshine.
One more thing, Minister Imhotep. I tell you for real, for
Yes.
real, this confirmed a lot of things. I was listening to Umar today, and he was making some points, and I was thinking about, the presidency and all this stuff, and I'm going, what, we just doomed in a sense. I was like, what can we do as a people? I was all up in there. I mean, I was feeling some kind of way, and this right here to say that we can deal with that this is it. This is the answer, basically, for me. Just to let you know. I mean, I know it was kind of freaky deaky with me, wait a minute, hold up. But this is how I was feeling before I came on here. And I'm feeling free. How about that?
Yes.
Give thanks.
Yes.
That's great.
Let's be. I like that.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right. As we close out, remember, it's cosmic.
There are many forces that would not like to see our dreams become reality. There's a war going on, a war you cannot see. Right versus wrong, it's a war that is so real. I wake up in the morning, the sun I do see, but I feel the vibes, forces around me. Can you feel it? It's cosmic. I can feel it. Hey, can you feel it? It's cosmic, man. Cosmic, 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 living me. It's cosmic. People having problems from where it came. Innocent fallen victim, a thought they can explain. Intellect takes advantage of the simple man. Intellect takes advantage of the simple man. When the people having problems from where it came. Innocent fallen victims to a thought they can explain. Intellect takes advantage of the simple man. Intellect takes advantage of the Can you feel it? What up? I can feel it. Can you dance? Can you dance? Can you dance? Can you dance? Dance, dance. Live in me. You know it's a thing. Yeah. You know it's a thing. It's a thing. You know it's a thing. It's a thing. It's cosmic. The star pyramid, all seeing eye on a dollar bill. What does it mean? Where did it come from? Why is it there? I repeat myself. Eagle, the star, pyramid. What is the all seeing eye doing on a dollar Solomon. Huh. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? But I tell you what, I can feel it. Can you feel it? It's a cosmic tip. I can feel it. Yeah. Can you feel it? Lord, 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 live in me.
It's cosmic. It's cosmic. It's cosmic. It's cosmic.
I know them.
All right, live up.
Well, you always right on time with the music, aren't you?
Oh, I'm a frustrated DJ. I'm one of those guys that would come to the house party and take over the DJ stand. All right.
Hey, we love it. We love it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. One love. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you, Sunshine.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Thank
right.
you for giving me the space, Minister Imhotep. I appreciate that.
All right. All right. And if you have time, join us tomorrow. Mama Ngina, glad to see you. Sister Mona, glad you could join us. Mama Rose.
Yes,
Glad
it was
to
wonderful.
be with us. Zarita, Tony, great questions. Great questions, Sebastian. Willie, you didn't say anything, but I see you there. And Herman, you're there too. All right. Take care. Live up.
Blessings.
Blessings, everyone.